Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to address two of the biggest mistakes which students do in high school. What are these two biggest mistakes? My personal feeling is how the students in their high school, they study and learn mathematics and how they engage in problem solving. The second one is how they go about acquiring language skills, irrespective of the language in question. Recently, I had shared a poll and many students had correctly pointed out that if they had a chance to go back to school, they would emphasize mostly mathematics and problem solving. I was kind of shocked to learn that nowadays people are going to coaching institutes as early as standard 6 or standard 7. Standard 6? Come on, are you kidding me? The main reason behind this is as follows. So you see, how do you go about learning maths in school? Is it not something as follows? You get your textbook, you go to school, the teacher starts a particular chapter, explains a few things from the background theory, and then they teach a few sample problems, and then maybe they will give you a few homework problems to do. And then what you usually do nowadays that even if they don't go to coaching, they will definitely take some kind of tuition in maths. This is the most common thing. And the system goes like this, that the kind of homework problems that the teacher gives in school, that is being discussed in the tuition, and the tuition teacher maybe gives another set of homeworks which the students try, and then they go back and then they discuss these problems. So basically what it turns out is that learning maths happens to be a process through which the students learn various kinds of solution methodologies from different persons, whether it is the school teacher, whether it is the tuition teacher. This is what goes on in the name of learning maths. But where is the learning of problem solving? Who is teaching problem solving to the students? Your training is geared towards how you can map the different kinds of methodologies, the different kinds of methods to the various categories of problems. So this is not really problem solving at all. What is problem solving? Well, you see a problem, you have no idea about what method you have to come up, and then you use your own independent thinking without discussion with anyone, without looking up any problem, without searching for it in Google, and then through your independent effort, you try to tackle, even if partially, the problem. That is real problem solving. Unless you do this, you are not learning problem solving. And if you do not learn problem solving in the context of mathematics, you are never going to learn problem solving. I know this for a fact because this is exactly the mistake that I did right from my class 1 to my class 9. It was only in class 9 when my school teacher, God give him all the blessings that is possible, he introduced me to these Olympiad type of problems, and I basically understood that I had not learned maths at all. It was only when I started doing those kinds of things that I realized that I had to learn how to learn maths. So people who are committing the same kind of mistakes that I did, please change your habits. This is not the way that you go about learning math. After a certain stage, you have to come up with your own strategies. You have to come up addressing problems completely on your own. If you do this, and only if you do this, you will be able to realize the strengths that you have. For problem solving, you do need a little bit of a knack, and for certainly harder problems, you need to have some amount of innate ability to do it. So if you do not have that innate ability, there must be a little bit of that spark of imagination in you, some kind of independent thought thinking capacity. Those kinds of things, if they are not there in you, and if you are just being pushed forward by the artificial cosmetic momentum created by your tuition teachers and coaching teachers, you may think that just because your parents are spending thousands and thousands, probably lakhs of rupees on your tuition and coaching, you probably will end up in some good college, but that is ultimately not going to happen. Okay, because in these examinations, you will always have to face some kind of new problems for which none of those categorized kind of methodology will work. This can happen, or even if you somehow manage to do it, you're never going to get a good rank. So go for tuition, fine. Go for coaching if you have to. If your parents are forcing it, maybe that's another topic of discussion. But I personally think that standard 6 or standard 7 to standard 10 is a very, very precious time in which you need to discover this kind of a problem solving ability on your own instead of wasting these years. Okay, the next biggest mistake which many people do not realize is the importance of acquiring language skills in school. This is certainly not going to happen in any coaching institute. Perhaps it can happen in some tuition, but the best place to really acquire this thing is at school. Okay, so if you are neglecting your school education, it is going to come at the big price of not learning language skills properly. There could be debates about the quality of the school education that is available to you, but that is a slightly separate aspect. But I still believe that no matter what kind of school you are going to, there are ample opportunities for you to get to extract some amount of benefit on this regard. So acquiring language skills, and by that I mean reading, writing, comprehension, effective communication, all these things, if it happens very nicely, if it develops to a certain level of maturity in one particular language, I think it is not a big leap to go from one language to another. Of course, there are challenges, but this is kind of a mental muscle that you develop. Like my PhD advisor used to say this, there are certain students who don't even know how to communicate effectively in their own mother tongue. That is really unfortunate. Okay, so forget about English. At least in whatever language is the medium of instruction in your school, develop these language skills in that language itself. So these are small things of which, if you are observant enough, you will see it happening on a day-to-day basis in your school education. And unless you actually go to school, you're never going to realize this. So instead of school, if you end up just going to a coaching, some kind of a dummy school, this is never going to happen. Okay, so on this note, I'll end this discussion. I'm sure there are lots and lots of other things which needs to be discussed on these aspects. Maybe in a future video, I can point out a few things which would be important for the sake of the parents also. So on this note, thank you very much and all the very best.